Why play Hwei Mid? Well, his kit does basically everything. He brings a ton of utility, his early game is good and he scales well, and he deals tons of AoE damage. However, he can be mana hungry, especially early, and where he does have a lot, he doesn't have a great amount of mobility. Hwei's passive is when he damages an enemy with two different abilities, an explosion appears at their feet which detonates, dealing damage to enemies within. Hwei's Q are his damaging abilities. His QQ is a straight line skill shot which explodes into a fireball at the end, dealing damage to enemies hit. This also deals max health damage, so it's great into tanks. His QW is a long range ability which places a circle on the floor which detonates after 1 second, dealing damage to enemies within. If it hits just one enemy or their CC'd, it deals bonus execute damage. His QE places a path along the floor which detonates after a short amount of time, dealing damage to enemies hit. This leaves an area on the floor which constantly deals damage and slows the target. This is a great way to push the minion wave. Hwei's W is his utility abilities. His WQ places a path along the floor which grants him and allies bonus move speed. His WW places a circle on the floor which shields allies within, and his WE empowers his next 3 attacks or abilities to deal bonus damage and restore mana. Hwei's E is his lockdown abilities. His EQ is a straight line skill shot which deals damage to enemies hit and fears them. His EW places a large circle on the floor which reveals the area. If it reveals an enemy, it jumps on them, dealing damage and rooting them. His EE creates a jaw attack which deals damage to enemies hit, slows them and pulls them to the middle. Hwei's ultimate is a straight line skill shot which attaches to the first enemy hit, dealing damage. It creates a circle around them which damages and slows enemies within, before detonating, dealing a large amount of damage. For combos, a good go-to are to use W and E into your E and E into your Q and Q, and if you have ult, use it just as your E and E is landing. If escaping, a W and Q will speed you away, while your E and Q will fear your enemy so you can hit them with a Q and W. For matchups, he's great into lower range mages who he can easily poke all game, and he can struggle into long range burst damage. For runes, take this. Comet is great extra poke. For build order, start Ring and Pot into a Black Fire Torch and tier 2 boots. After this, Aleandries and Crypt Bloom are great pickups before finishing a build with any of these as needed. For skill order, start Q then E then W before maxing Q then E then W, taking ult whenever you can. For summoner spells, take Flash and Teleport. Hwei's laning phase is relatively safe while being very oppressive. Your Q and E pushes the wave incredibly easily, and often will do so while poking and zoning your opponent. Combine this with your W and E to constantly have mana, and your E and E followed by any of your Q abilities to combo your opponent when you want. You're also relatively safe. If anyone jumps at you, you can fear them away while shielding yourself and returning damage. And as soon as you get ult, your burst damage is amazing. Entering the mid game, your bot lane will come mid, which puts you in a side lane. Push it out quickly and easily and group up with your team. Entering late game teamfights, play as the backline mage. Hitting a target with ultimate will not only deal massive damage to them, but also create a zone around them which will mess up the enemy team. From here, use E abilities to CC as needed, W for more damage, shields and mobility, while using Q for damage, zone control or sniping kills. And that's how to play Hwei Mid Lane. If this video helped you, leave a like and comment below who you want to see next.